everybody please stand for I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amy, would you call the roll?
Stewart.
Present.
Keller.
Present.
Betts.
Present.
Becker.
Present.
Graham.
Present.
Buscher.
Present. Okay, we have a quorum. Anybody that just snuck in might want to wait public comment. One last chance to sign. If not, we'll start with Sheila Plant. Public comment. Why don't you come on up here so everybody can hear you too?
Oh.
Oh, come on. Don't be bashful.
Is there going to be a restriction on building permits, whatever, I don't know if I'm saying that right. If we were to want to have a mobile home park, is there a restriction on that?
That's something the board would have to undertake. I suppose you'd have to devise some kind of a plan and present it to the board. Tonight we're going to be initially discussing adopting county ordinances, and it would probably do you good to at least review that, because for the most part that's what we used to have, and that's probably a good place to start. Starting to just take out, and if the board wants more or less flexibility, then the trustees would bring forth that kind of change or not. So that's that'll be a decision that gets made here in the next several months, I would imagine. So, all right. Eldon.
My name is Eldon Plant, 4901 South, 750 East Road. My question is, or comment is, property across the road from me is inside Sammons Point, as is mine. And everything coming down the pipe that I hear says it's going to be turned into a waste transfer facility. Is that legal in Sammons Point?
Okay, I wouldn't mind giving you an explanation of the way siting of facilities operate. It's a bit of a complicated process where notice is given out, intent, there's a hearing process, it's established by state statute how it has to be proceeded with. It's just like anything else. If somebody were to do that, then they would have to come before this board, present a case, and this board would make that determination. Now, specifically to the point, I can tell you exactly that there's not going to be a transfer station across the street, nothing of the such across the street from you. So wherever that rumor may have started, you might as well dismiss that. That's not going to be the case. So, okay, Keith Rooney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Board of Trustees. I want to address some allegations that have been floated around here by some of your residents. I don't expect this board to do anything about it, but I'd just like the public to know what the truth is about these allegations. Some of the people here have alleged that there's some kind of big conspiracy between the power group and Merlin Carlock and somebody else. I don't know exactly what that conspiracy is supposed to do. Nonetheless, there is no conspiracy. Power has never received one dime of funding from Merlin Carlock. Not one. So it's hard to be a conspirator when you don't have any backing. Secondly, Power is a very open organization. We meet every Tuesday, the first Tuesday of every month at Romer's Bakery. the public is invited. None of the people who've made these allegations have ever attended one of the meetings. So they obviously have no basis for making these false allegations. In fact, power has been dedicated to fighting both the proposed landfills. We were objectors in both of the landfill siting hearings. We have an attorney that filed a case in the appellate court, and now we filed in the Supreme Court to fight the Bellini landfill. So that's the mission of power. The way power gets its funding is through functions, like we had a raffle a couple of years ago. We've had dinner dances, we've had things like that. But for anybody to tell you that Merwin Carlock is financing this and it's a big conspiracy to do something, it's absolutely untrue. And I'd like to point out, by the way, that the people making those allegations have never once appeared as objectors to any of the landfills. So I just wanted to have that opportunity to clarify the record, and I appreciate your tolerance in allowing me to do that. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Barry Painter.
And Barry Painter, for those of you that don't know, I have been appointed Otto Township's Highway Commissioner. I wanted to say that we were very short on salt coming into this winter. We were running at about 1/3 of our normal capacity. I put out notice to everybody. I made many phone calls and no success. I let everybody know, and Mike happened to tie onto a string and got us a semi-load of salt, so we're looking pretty decent on our salt supply. I wanted to thank Mike for that. To back you up on Eldon Plant's question also, I went to Jim Pekarsik today and asked him if there was any roads or anything being slated or anything he could help me with. And he said that he absolutely knew nothing of any transfer station roads being improved or anything in our area. Just to clarify that also. He was very explicit with me for at least 2 hours he talked with me. So I was pretty comfortable with his answer. So.
Thank you. Gene?
My question is to you and everyone at this board. And that is, are you absolutely positive that none of my land is in the Sammons Point? Not even an inch?
Not to my knowledge. I mean, you'd have to deal with the
Okay,
engineer.
the reason I asked that is because it showed up on my tax bill this year. Sammons Point. It was zero balance, but still, it showed up on there.
That must be from the old assessment on that. You can probably go down and get that clarified with them if you'd like.
But as far as you know,
Yeah, the
none of them.
engineer did not, no, they did not include that lot at all, so.
Okay,
All
that's what I
right.
had.
Okay, that concludes our public comment. Okay, President's report. Just an update on what I've managed to get accomplished. With the holiday season, it was kind of tough making connections with various state agencies, but I did make progress with the Census Bureau. At least I now have a contact in the lady, and I expect to be able to talk to her tomorrow as far as resolving whether or not we can use our old census or if we're going to be required. The steps up to this person seem to suggest that we're going to be required to do a new one. But hopefully I can persuade her that it's essentially the same village minus 4 houses and another 9 were added in, so it's roughly going to be about the same. So if everything goes okay, I should be speaking with her tomorrow. The application for the Illinois funds has been received. I had to check with another call to government, Internal Revenue Service, regarding tax identification number. The gentleman there, and I did not bring my notes, sorry, told me that the same tax number we used for the initial corporation is what he wanted us to use. Since we were using Pat's address at the time, he said to make the change of address to this permanent place, and they would receive that. Since it's the same name, they want the same number to be used. They don't want to go through the process of confusion of issuing another number. Letter for Mr. Painter went out, and I'd like to congratulate Larry on, or Barry, sorry, on being appointed as the road commissioner. Thank you. And the municipal league, that's one I haven't been able to get to just yet, but you know, that's where we're headed. I think I should have all those things finalized by our next meeting. Also in the president's report, I'd like to address specifically one of the challenges that face our village. For years we've been a community, we just haven't been under a village structure, which certainly allows, as you can look around the room, folks to at least get to know one another. Doesn't mean you like them anyways or any less, but at least, you know, it's a place where we can get to know one another to a better degree than what we have in the past. I never knew Mr. Becker before. Sandy I knew from a long time ago, but I mean, we never communicated much. Buddy, I met him 3 years ago. Jim Turner, who used to be on our board, first time I met him face to face was at the first board meeting. I spoke to him on the phone. So it's really, in my mind, has brought a lot of people together, one way or another. But I think the biggest challenge that we have to now overcome to move forward is misinformation. And I don't mean to harp on you, Bill. I ain't gonna whoop on you, okay? I see this side. But, you know, when I got to listening to the comment that you made about Tammy getting paid, I don't know where that came from. I think somebody told you that.
Actually, the budget that you had put it out before last year,
No, I didn't have a treasurer's pay on that. I don't remember seeing one.
I think I got a copy of it. Oh,
Okay.
There was a section.
So that's where you think you got that from, okay. I don't remember for any, maybe an auditor, potentially. Potentially an auditor. We may have budgeted for an auditor, but not for a treasurer, okay? So everybody was volunteer. And the same with Adina, and she's not here tonight, but she made a comment about the city of Kankakee annexing by force or by the vote of the board. That can't happen. Cannot happen. And I don't know who's passed that information.
Well,
but
actually, that information was discovered in the Illinois statute in a municipality.
no, the board cannot, at its discretion. You either misinterpreted that or someone misinformed you. The board does not have that power. That is the power of the people. Just like incorporating the village itself. Now, if the people wanted to do that, they could have a referendum to do that, but this board does not have the authority to just do it. So again, you know, it's misinformation, and there's so much of it out there that I've got to speak to it to clear up some of the stuff that's been out there and get it on record so that, you know, in the future as we move forward, I hope to expect to see you guys repudiate any misinformation, you know, because you're sitting right here.
So I agree with you. There's been a lot of misinformation given out. There's also misinformation on both sides that have been confusing.
Okay. Well, I would love to get into the discussion on misinformation from, you know, the side that was for the village. I would love to get into that discussion. I don't know that we can tonight, but maybe after the meeting or whatever, or at another time. At any rate, I'm just going to point, and this is some of the information that you and Paul put out regarding the original incorporation. That passed, that the petitions were not the same ones that had been filed and that people didn't know what they were signing. Okay, at the top of every petition, including the one you signed, Bill, and I think your wife did as well, it specifically said for the incorporation of a village. And in case you're not aware as to why it was defeated, I can tell you, it was a staple. The legal description was not stapled to the petition as it was being passed. And that's it. That's the big secret. It wasn't because signatures were forged. You know, what?
Well, I don't remember anybody saying signatures were forged.
Well, that it wasn't that petition, or I've heard that, okay? I mean, and I'm not suggesting it isn't what you guys put down, and I don't want to mischaracterize that either. But those are the miscommunications that need to be getting cleared up in order to continue, to move forward like we're supposed to. Couple other things that I wanted to touch on. A claim that we were using city ordinances to mimic the city. That's not the case. All right. Someone made the claim that I've got some amicus curiae agreement with the city of Kankakee supporting the Delaney landfill. And I think Keith and Darrell and a lot of others could speak to that as well as myself. I have never in any way supported the Delaney landfill. The only thing I'm guilty of is not fighting it because I exhausted myself finding the one that was on my back door. But I in no way have supported the Delaney landfill. Taxes were another issue. This one claims it was $620 in taxes, and I think when you got your bill, this is prior to the bill coming out. I don't think yours reflected that much, probably.
It didn't reflect that much, but that was a simple breakdown of the $35,000 tax levy that you had asked for.
Okay, and I'm going to get to the $35,000.
Okay.
And I want to explain that to everybody, so including you, because the information that you put out wasn't accurate regarding that. Let me find that particular piece. You know, people need to be educated properly on this, and the claim was that there was a $48,000 budget passed, which is true, roughly. And it said 13,000 of it were in fuel taxes. I don't have the old budget in front of me, but I think it was more in line of 7,000 or 8,000 in fuel, because that's what we were getting, and that's what we had anticipated getting, about 700 per month. And then it says another levy was passed for 14,000. That's not true. Just so you know the process, it was a $35,000 levy. Of the 35,000, we asked for 14. So it wasn't one on top of the other, it was a portion. The reason we went for 35 would be if there were any annexations, any new constructions, that would allow us to build towards the 35 to fill the gap. After the third year, wherever our highest number was, that's what we're stuck with. And by law, you can increase by 5% annually unless you go to referendum. One of the claims that it could triple in the first 3 years, up to 100. It doesn't say 105, but tripling to 35 is 105,000. Well, that would scare the heck out of anybody who would be considering it. But that was, again, not the correct information. So, and I'm not sure if you knew that or if, again, you were being fed something. So I just wanted to clarify that. So basically our total budget last time was 48,000 period. It wasn't 48 plus the 14. Of the 48, 14 of it was from property taxes. The other was from state revenues. Okay? All right, let's see. There's a lot of propaganda you guys put out, and I don't know, I got it all. And I understand, you know, when you're battling for a position. I don't take these things too seriously, but now that it's over, factual information has to be continually repeated as often as the false information was, so that people understand. Claim here that I took personal credit for personally paying $17,000 and then now I asked the village to pay for attorney's fees. That's not the case. Whatever attorney's fees was for the appeal to maintain a village, and would be any ongoing legal fees that we might incur. So I paid what I paid, and I have not expected a dime back from the village. So that's on record now, right? Okay. Claims of financial ties with me and the rest of the board, Jim and Cliff. Many of them I met for the first time in the months after the incorporation. Like I said, Sandy, I probably knew, I probably spoke to him, probably going back to 1989 a couple times. I know specifically the incident that I first ran into him, and that was when one of my hogs went down there and rooted up his front yard. So, and
They were cute until they started rooting, then it wasn't so cute anymore.
so anyways, and I guess that experience with Sandy, the way he handled it was, hey look, put me a little bit of sod down, I'm happy. Keep him out of here. I mean, it wasn't like you might expect it could have been. So, and basically that's probably about the only time other than maybe seeing him right up down the street that I'd spoken to him. But I knew he was a guy that was very reasonable and somebody that I think that would make a good board member. Buddy I met at one of the initial incorporation efforts. I never seen him before in my life until 2005. Pat I met at the landfill hearings. Robbie is probably one I've known the longest, and I don't know, maybe 10 or 12 years now. I mean, it could be longer than that, I don't know. Again, Jim Turner, I met him at the first meeting. I did speak to him on the phone. He was somebody who was with the fire department that I thought would, you know, be a good liaison to have on the board. Cliff is a businessman. I guess my only association with Cliff prior to this was I seen him in an Otto Township meeting prior to the incorporation at maybe 2, but I don't think I ever spoke to him before. So to insinuate that we're some way tied, absolutely not. And people were spread out. I mean, if you look at where they lived, they were kind of, somebody might know them, is what the whole idea was. So there was no financial ties, no employment ties, none of that. Landfills and transfer stations. That's a good topic. Been accused of a lot of things regarding that, but we're going to address them tonight. Apparently, there's been a very recent rumor going around regarding the Carlock property, and somehow I am tied as an owner or have some secret deal going on with the owners. So I thought that needed to be addressed immediately.
Well, I myself had heard rumors about the Carlock property,
And
the rumors I heard that it was sold to a LLC.
Okay.
All right. There was one rumor that maybe a motocross thing coming up, but the other rumor was that it was going to be another landfill.
Okay.
So I figured if it was going to be another landfill, the people to ask was the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency, so I filed a Freedom of Information Act with them to find out if anything was going on to help relieve their fears, and they answered me back, said they do nothing about it.
Okay. The landfill process, the way that works, whoever would want one
Would have to come before us.
would have to come before this board. So you'd know about it before anybody knew about it, before the EPA necessarily knew about it.
But I figured it was a proper step to take to help calm the fears of the people that were around me.
Right. But since you know, my information tells me that Mr. Culkin is the one that's talking to this particular issue. Joe, if you've got something you'd like to share, I'd like to give you the opportunity, so at least I can accurately rebut what, you know, what you've heard or what you believe is the case.
I was told by Terry Meyer that the property was sold back, I think it was in May
Okay?
of this last year.
Terry Meyer from Bennett. Okay?
And it was closed on 7/19/08. That's when it was formed into an LLC, which is called Adobe 2 Corporation. After the Adobe 2 Corporation, it is, we looked that up. That is owned by a Laverne S. Brown, who, him and his wife, Margaret or Martha, I think it is, own it. It was found for them by the person who used to work for Allied Waste out of Arlington landfill. It's between Dallas and Fort Worth. He was from the town of Edina, E-D-N-A, I think it is. His name is a Mr. Bly, Michael O. Bly. He is affiliated with Allied Waste, and also he used to work for Barber. And
Okay. Where's that documentation? Where can one go look for that? So we can get a copy of that.
This is Mike Bly. Don, what do you need to know about him?
How is he tied to this piece of property?
He's the one that found it.
He's the one that found it?
And bought it.
Okay, is
Terry
he a
Meyer.
realtor or what is he?
No, he's nothing.
Okay, where's he from?
He's from Edina, Texas.
Okay. Is there, can we just look at what you got and maybe jot some notes down?
Sure.
Copy it.
Is it an email or something?
Nope. This is all over the minute. Okay. This is where he was previously employed by.
Okay, where does it say he associate Mike Bly on this paper?
That paper? No.
No.
This paper.
Let me see that.
Okay. These are his, this is his present address. No, that's his previous address in Dallas, Texas.
I need those.
You want to contact him,
Well, I intend to.
that's his cell phone right at the top. He's also interested in buying other pieces of property.
Have you spoken with him?
Yes, oh yes.
Okay.
And Mr. Brown, same thing.
And they told you they wanted to put a landfill there?
Oh, they didn't say for the landfill, they said they're looking to do an expansion, and they want to buy industrial property that's suitable for a landfill. They didn't say they want to put one, they said suitable. This is Mr. Brown.
Okay.
He's 87 years old. His wife, I think, is 84. He used to be one of the previous owners of Brown and Lambert Excavating out of Joliet.
He's been retired for over 30 years.
Close to, yes. And then he was bought out by Tom Lambert. And then Tom got in a car accident.
Okay. Well, just so you know, Joe, Mr. Brown stopped in to see me, and his issue was he wanted to make sure that it wasn't scoped out for parkland, and he wanted to know if it could be used for either commercial or residential at some point. And essentially is what it is an investment. He apparently sold some property in southern Illinois. It was a 1031 exchange, and he merely, I think he bought some west of town as well. Basically, he was looking for the cheapest land that he could get in exchange for the monies he's got, so he wouldn't have to pay tax on it. So I'm going to follow up on these two here.
When's the last time you talked to Mr. Brown?
Prior to him buying it.
This was after he bought it.
Yeah, it was prior to him buying it.
I
And I don't remember when it was, but I know it was in the spring of the year. So I will speak with him.
Call Mr. Bly.
I'll call Mr. Bly first, and
Because he was the one,
at least
he was the mediator. Right, he's not a realtor.
he's a realtor now?
No, he's not a realtor. He is a mediator, and what he basically wanted to do was, he was looking for other pieces of property, and he wanted to know if there's any other properties out in the area that were for sale, especially anything that would be adjacent to the 201 acres.
Okay.
And he asked about.
He never asked me nothing like that.
He asked about Larry's property.
That's fine.
Um,
If Larry
yeah.
wants to sell, that's Larry's
No,
business.
I'm just saying this, but he was asking, he was curious
Okay.
about it.
Now, how does that tie me into this?
Nobody.
Now, I've had several people call me up telling me you've been their ear for 2 hours at a time, that I'm gonna put in a landfill. I'm
No.
tired of those rumors, Joe.
No, there's no, no.
Or that I know something of a secret deal, or
If you
something
do,
like
that's
that.
fine.
I don't
I
know
don't-
anything like that, and I would be very honest, and I'd be the person to bring it to this board.
Well,
Because you guys have attached enough of these lies to me, that I want these guys to be aware of what's coming down the pipe. If something like that's coming up.
Nobody's accusing you of anything.
Well, it didn't sound like that from the phone calls I got. Okay, well, I appreciate you standing up, saying something at least, so now I've got a phone number that I can call and press.
I appreciate it if you would, because I'd like to clarify it too. I mean, if they're wanting to do something, I'd like to know it too.
Well, and I will report back
I
what
appreciate
I
it.
get from everybody
Appreciate
else
it
here.
very much. Thank you.
Okay, and lastly, I guess I want, and I wish Tom would have been here tonight, because one of his letters that he signed and sent to everybody who sat on the board, to kind of give you an idea of what we've had, what we've endured, not just myself, but the rest of the group. And this was after the incorporation was essentially winding down, the initial time in which he addressed the letter to the former trustees, the former mayor of the former village of Sammons Point. And he addresses an issue to me, claiming, it says, Mike Watson, I was called in to investigate the headless horse. Richard Murray of Outrage, I was with them then, and I found the decapitated body. The opposing attorney later asked me for help in the case. Others and I did pro bono work for people who could not afford to hire investigators, thus, justice for law, in case you wonder. I know you don't care. You believe you are above the law. Below is what Brinker Fund 1 sent me after the election. AOL records have shown that this is Ruth Romer's address, reads her claims. They are the last and typical of all the lies spread by you, Outrage, and Power. I guess I won't have to move after all, now that the village is no more. Of course, you can always try to remove me from my home of 30 years. Bring Runyon and Bruck with you. I'm a dying man and would like to go out the way of the warrior with my hands at the throats of my enemies. Now, in court proceedings, this was brought up. And Tom's response was, well, if I had gotten a letter like that, I'd go to this person's house and find out why he's upset. I don't know about you, but dying man and wanting to go out the way of the warrior, I think he can pick up the phone if he wants to talk to somebody. Not to mention the you know, the facts that have come out in this whole ordeal of Paul and Joe taking photographs, surveilling my property, Paul taking airplane trips at the expense of Joe. I don't know what for, but I mean, the nonsense really, in my opinion, needs to just be kicked to the back burner and everybody start moving ahead. I'd like to have a nice picnic maybe this summer where everybody can do it on an annual basis so that everybody can begin to know one another. The information that's come out of the concerned citizens has typically been negative, typically been anti-Sammons Point. And I guess it's time, I'm asking that it's time for that rhetoric to fall by the wayside and everybody chip in and start moving us in a forward direction. So that's why I want to make sure and ask both Paul and Bill if you're on board to do that.
Well, I'm on board to move forward.
Okay?
All right. Me and Paul were specifically put here, according to the judge, to help represent the 42% of the voters that did not want the village, to make sure things are going properly or things are being done correctly, and that they have a bit of a voice in what's
Okay.
going
The
on.
things were being, there's no suggestion of improperly. Things were being done improperly. By saying that they were being done properly, it's not as though things in the past were being done improperly. Correct? There was no insinuation of that.
Not for me that I recall.
Okay. Well, like I said, these are some of the things that I wanted to, and if everybody, I don't know, maybe there's more out there, I don't know. There's no secret conspiracy. It's a village. It gives the people who live within it certainly a lot more access to the decisions and input to the decisions that are being made around them. And that was the objective, to empower those of us who live out here to make our own decisions. And it's not just this side or that side. I want Edina or anyone else who may have been opposed to the village to feel as comfortable talking to any one of these gentlemen as they would you guys, and vice versa. Some point we got to start working towards that objective.
Well, I think me and Paul being on this board is helping us work towards that objective.
Well, had you and Paul decided to come to the meetings before, you at least seen what was going on.
My biggest problem was, as I said before, I work afternoons, and he always had the meetings on at night, which I had to work.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And Monday nights you're not working, correct?
Monday nights, I am always scheduled for Monday nights. I use my personal time to come here,
Okay.
and I have to apply for my personal time to come here.
Okay.
Which takes off from my time left with the family. So I'm giving up family time to be here.
Okay. All right, well, I guess that's probably all I wanted to address under the president's report. So I guess we can go ahead and move forward for approval of the minutes. Motion by Mintz to accept.
Second.
Second. Discussion.
I have a few things wrong with the minutes.
Okay.
All right.
Let's see what you got.
Page 3, line 8, roll call for ordinance 0801. The vote record that I made, according to the minutes, is saying that I said A. I had abstained from that vote.
0803, right?
0801.
0801.
The conduct, the very first one we did. Paul had made the comment that he thought the meeting was illegal due to the Open Meeting Act. It was after that we had called for the vote, and I had to stay from voting on that one.
I'll go back to the tape.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
Page 7, line 18 through 25, that's the direction to reimburse IDOT funds. The part she has that is written up in the discussion part is not the discussion. It's more the what you had said at the beginning. The discussion was when I brought up with that, it surprised me that we were dealing with this as a village, part of the village, it was part of the old village. None of that is in there.
Okay, but I mean, so you want us to include that this should, to include, I mean, these may not be exact. I mean, it's not a transcript. Okay, just so you know. So, but you're suggesting that we put in there that Graham stated that the issue should have been resolved at the previous incorporation, something like that.
Because I admitted that it has surprised me that we were discussing this at this time.
Okay. Well, I'm just writing notes down, and then we'll amend we'll take a vote to amend the motion. So, Graham, surprise. Okay.
And page 10, line 11.
Okay.
Where it said, Watson stated this group recorded the articles of the Daily Journal. You never made that statement.
Yeah, I did.
No, you didn't.
I certainly recall making that. At least according to the Daily Journal, that the four of you, because that was the article I had in front of me. So, I'm saying I made the statement.
Okay, well, I don't remember you saying the statement. And I went to outrageous site and looked on the tape, and it's not on there.
And you're at this location?
I'm at this location.
Okay, what was your recollection of what was said then?
My recollection of what was said was that that everybody knew that concerned citizen only consisted of, you named me, Paul, Joe, and Tom.
Okay.
But you didn't put any article out saying according to this article, or you didn't say according to the Daily Journal, you didn't say any of that.
Okay. Well, it was telepathy, I guess. Because I didn't pick it up.
It was telepathy.
You know, I'm not going to doubt your word on that until I review things as well.
Okay.
But it will be so noted that it wasn't mentioned in the Daily Journal, and if in fact I didn't say that, I will address that now and state that based on the articles from the Daily Journal, when the four of you were mentioned as concerned citizens.
I will agree that four of us were mentioned as concerned citizens, but I also know there's articles in the Daily Journal for when the case originally went before the court stating 60 people as concerned citizens.
Okay.
And
I'm going by based on Bill Burns' article in the paper, where he interviewed the four.
yeah, I remember that.
Okay. And that's where I got the information from, was from the Daily Journal. Otherwise, I didn't know. I could guess,
Yeah.
probably pretty accurately, but, you know, until it's been reported upon, I wouldn't have known. But anyway, go ahead and continue, if you got more.
No, those are the only things that I found wrong with the minutes.
Okay.
Now, there is another issue that I've got, but I don't know if I should take it up under now or under, old business.
If it's regarding the minutes,
It's not regarding the minutes, it's the fact that, on one of the issues, the resolution number 0803, I wish to change my vote on that. I know it's according to the minutes, I said A, but actually I wanted to say no, because I actually brought up the objection.
okay, 08 what now?
0803.
03. You wanna change to nay, right?
I want to change the name.
Didn't want to talk about the
The appointment of the clerk instead of the,
fiscal year.
Fiscal year.
Now, 0803, are you talking about resolution or ordinance?
resolution.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, you have our ordinance with you or not? Done.
Ordinances that were passed.
Yeah. Okay, Bill, I'm not finding anything for changing procedure on that, on changing that.
Okay.
Reconsideration of the entire question, I can see. I think for the record, it'll stand, and, I think maybe under new business, why don't you at least get that on the record, that you'd like to change it?
I don't know if it was, as I said, I didn't know if it would go now or under old business or new business.
That's fine, I would say, I don't know, I think it would be new business because it's a new vote, or a new, you wanna change that.
I wanted
That's
to
new.
change that. If
Um,
I remember correctly, that would.
And I wanna check the procedure on that too, if there's what, I'm sure there's probably one. I knew there was one for reconsideration, but that would be on the entire motion, and that's not what's happening here, you're just merely wanting to change.
I just merely wanted to change my vote. I made the objection during the discussion that I've had not hearing about it being done. And the even more I think about it, I just do not feel comfortable taking the people's right to choose their clerk away from them without them telling us we can't. Like I recommend myself.
Well, I understand what your position is, but the vote reflected what you did that day.
Well, what I actually said.
Right, okay. So, why don't you bring that up, that you'd be interested in changing that, vote? You got that one, that's resolution 2. Okay, so, now, Bill has, keep this in order. Bill has, there's a problem. Get out of my way. Made the following changes. Number one, he wanted to be included in the discussion for the direction to reimburse IDOT funds, for it to state that he was surprised that the village was still dealing with this issue. It should have been resolved previously. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
Okay. And is that our first one, or are we on for that? Okay. Also, that he abstained from the, reflected he abstained from ordinance establishing rules for conduct of the village. So, and am I missing another one, Bill? Somewhere? Yeah, line 11.
Yeah.
On this page 10, he questions the Daily Journal aspect of this. I don't know. What? Anybody else have a recollection on that at all? One way or another?
I thought you mentioned it myself, but like I said, if somebody's taping this and whether it's me tape, whatever.
You know, why don't we do this? Why can't Mr. Mintz amend his motion to accept to have the following provisions? A motion to correct the roll call vote on action item B, ordinance establishing rules of conduct of village board meetings, to an abstention from Mr. Graham. And action item B, to include in the discussion, Graham was surprised to see that the village was discussing this and thought that should have been resolved previously. Okay.
Okay.
And subject to review whether or not the Daily Journal was mentioned. Is that fair enough to cover everything for you?
That's fair enough for everything.
Okay. Would you make that motion to amend it? And second, would agree? Okay. Pardon?
Daily Journal being mentioned, wasn't that in the president's comment?
No, that was in the new business. At the bottom. That was under new business. Okay. Any other discussion? Paul, anything?
Well, I've got some things here, but it's been said that's been up under the...
Okay. Any other questions regarding the minutes? Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Well, I guess we're probably ready for a roll call.
Aye.
Metz,
Aye.
Busher,
Aye.
Graham,
Aye, with the amendments. That have been-
Well, that's the motion.
Yeah.
Keller,
Aye.
Becker.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. Okay. Next item. Resolution appointing Robert Flint as a village attorney. And I'm not sure what resolution that'll be, but, If you want to review it again, please do, and I'll wait for a motion. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Butcher. Second, Mintz. Discussion. You always look at me. Well, because I'm sure you might have something to say. Bill?
Were anybody else asked or sought out for as prices go? Is that what I'm looking through?
Initially, no, and I think I talked to it last time. With getting us to that point, they've been through it once, okay? And I think they can get us there a little quicker with our census and stuff. Limestone, it took them probably 8-9 months to get going. I mean, they were kind of clueless, and I kind of helped them out a little bit, but, you know, I think Bob can get us through that. Like I said, I like these guys, okay, but I'm not stuck that they have to be the attorney at all times, you know. I think
Okay,
that
and
we,
the only other question I've got, has he ever been used as your personal attorney where there may be a conflict of interest?
oh, boy. I don't believe so, other than the incorporation. The incorporation, you know, technically represented me as well as some of the other people that were on that. But no, not on any other aspect. Strictly the incorporation, and that's why I went outside my regular counsel to get somebody that, you know, I wasn't associated with.
Well, those are the concerns I had, that we run into a conflict of interest someplace.
Then I guess we get some different counsel if we have that issue, I guess, but I don't see that. The only thing that he handled was Sammons Point. And the initial incorporation effort was essentially brought about by a group of people, of which I was one of those. Okay?
Okay.
Strictly that. Okay, anything else?
No.
Okay. Any other discussion from anybody? Okay, and I guess we're ready for a vote on that one, please.
Sure.
Aye.
Busher.
Aye.
Keller.
Aye.
Mentz.
Aye.
Graham.
Nay.
Thacker.
Motion carries. All right, so that is resolution 0805, correct? All right, resolution authorizing village president to execute a fee agreement, which is included the fee agreement. So hopefully you reviewed that, and it would require a signature to do so. So, is there a motion?
Make a motion.
To accept? Okay. Motion by Keller. For second?
I'll second it.
Second by Sherrick. Discussion?
Okay, how much? The fee agreement and everything, since this gentleman lives at offices in Itasca,
Correct?
we're paying him from the time he stepped out of his office, so we got like 4 hours we're gonna be paying from just in travel time approximately.
Bob said that he would consult via phone, if we can set him up a modem, so that if there's an issue, that if a court appearance is required, yes, he's got travel time.
Okay, but I figure if we needed him for like one of our meetings or something through the contract.
We could set up a modem, he can do it from his office, and he would be, you know, listening to it.
As I said, at $165 an hour, at almost 4 hours, you're.
Well, I understand what you're saying. I mean, and that's an issue for me as well. Don't think it's not. I paid a lot of them travel time hours. So, I mean, it's an issue, but like I said, they've been through a lot of these steps already, and I think they can get us back up. I'll be open to looking. I mean, if you've got a recommendation you'd like to bring in a later time, you know, feel free. We can talk about it. Okay. That's assured. I mean, like I said, they've done a lot already, and since we had the initial incorporation, a lot of this is reviews, so they would be able to step in and move us along a little quicker, I think.
Okay. Those are the concerns I had.
Okay. Any other discussion from anyone? None? Call for a vote.
Trustee Becker,
Nay.
Graham,
Nay.
Mentz,
Aye.
Sherritt,
Aye.
Busher,
Aye.
Keller.
Yay, motion passed. That will be resolution 0806. Okay. You know, we need to back up a little bit. I was gonna bring this up. We need to correct the date at the bottom of that last resolution. Reflect December versus November. This is the one that was on the agenda for last month. So,
Which one are we talking about?
the one we just passed.
0806.
And while we're doing that, people watch on the dates, because you get one of these where you have a fee agreement or something where it's actually dated December of 09. That I can't remember.
Okay.
Alright.
Yeah, well, you know, why don't
And then
we,
right underneath it says approved.
is there a motion to revisit this, resolution?
I'll make a motion.
Second. Okay. Keller meant to revisit, resolution 08, so we can make these corrections for the record. It should reflect that it was passed, to be passed December of 08, subject to another vote. And what was the other correction, Bill, that you found?
Something I don't know.
Let me withdraw that, because I'm not finding it now. But there was one of these that actually showed an 09 date on it, which should be kind of odd.
I see
And
08 date there.
2009 meeting schedule.
It is on the meeting one, but it says fastest date December 2009. All right, it's on that one, so.
That's on the meeting one? Okay.
That's on the
so
meeting one, so I got it confused.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so we're gonna recall the vote, subject to the change of the date that's on the resolution. And Tammy, call the vote again.
That's on both pages.
Right.
On both pages of what?
Of that.
See, this is the one that we had the last time.
Okay, right.
They both have
The
that.
2
that go
points,
on.
right. Okay, call for the vote again.
Becker,
Nay.
Graham,
Nay.
Mentz,
Aye.
Keller, Busher,
Aye.
Sherritt.
Okay, motion as amended passes. Okay, next is the schedule. Where's my schedule at? All right, ordinance establishing schedule of village board meetings for the 2009 calendar year. Okay. Now, this thing is blank because I wanted to bring forth some dates. I went to the county building today. I got a list of their days off that they're closed. And for Mondays, which I know Bill doesn't want to hear that, but well, for now, I mean, yeah. The second Tuesday, or excuse me, the second Monday of January will get us by, I think, every one except for maybe Columbus Day, if I remember correctly. Okay, so take for instance, if we would take January 8th, that is not a legal holiday.
January
Or excuse me, sorry about that, I'm looking at December. January 12th, excuse me. January 12th is not a legal holiday. February 9th is not a legal holiday. March 9th, not a legal holiday. April 13th, not a legal holiday. May 11th, not a legal holiday. June 8th, not a legal holiday. July 13th, not a legal holiday. August 10th, not a legal holiday. September 14th, not a legal holiday. October 12th is a holiday, which in that instance it would back up to the 13th on Tuesday. And I believe the county's closed, so I'm assuming like the state's closed as well, Bill?
Well, Shapiro is never closed.
But I meant,
Yeah.
it's typically recognized as a holiday with the state as well.
Yeah, if the state doesn't recognize Easter or Good Friday,
Okay.
all right, it's basically what they don't recognize.
Well, if we stay away from Fridays, we're good, and Sundays, we don't have to worry about Easter. Okay, so, moving on, November 9th is not a legal holiday. I thought maybe Veterans Day might, but apparently it's recognized by both the county and the calendar as the 11th on a Wednesday, on the day of the
It's the actual day, same way with.
Okay, well, I wasn't sure if they backed that up to a Monday or not.
No.
I don't get paid holidays, so, I mean, they're all the same to me.
I get 15 paid holidays a year if there's election.
I know, you're up on them. December 14th, not a legal holiday.
It is
So,
legal. That is a legal holiday.
it is, what is that?
It's my birthday.
Oh,
Can we get that put in?
okay, well, all joking aside, to me, that provides the most uninterrupted schedule with, we'd have only one day to, take the following day. And so I would like to put those dates in. So if somebody would make that motion to include the dates that I just spoke to,
I'll make a motion.
Bill will, to the dates. So that would be on the second Monday of each month during the year 2009 at 5090, except that any second Monday, or how it would read, of any month which falls on any legally observed holiday in the state of Illinois shall be held on the immediate following weekday at the same time and location. And so we will write on that, is it October that we're on? October 13th, we will put in there. And we'll make a notation that that will be Tuesday, the rest will be Monday. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Second by Mintz. Discussion. None on that, Bill?
None of that.
Is that the one that had a change on the date, December of 08, past the second date?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, Bill said that,
Past this 18,
it should
2009.
reflect 9.
Reflect 8.
Okay, also to amend it. Oh, it's just, oh, okay.
That's right.
The bottom one was right, the top one was wrong. I got it. Okay, so to make the amendment, is that included in your motion to change it?
Yes.
Okay. And your second? Mintz?
Yes.
Call the vote.
What ordinance is this? What number is it?
It will be number 10. It'll be ordinance 0810.
Trustee Sherritt,
Aye.
Buescher,
Aye.
Keller,
Aye.
Becker,
Aye.
Graham,
Aye.
Metz.
Aye.
Okay, motion passed. All right. Next order of business, old business.
Is this where you want to talk about the changes they vote?
Sure, it's on ordinances passed, so. Well, actually, it probably ought to be on the new business, Bill, because you're bringing it up. So I think we probably will address that after our discussion on the old business and after the discussion of the county plans. Okay, anything else under old business? Buddy? You ought to have something.
Oh, on the signs?
This is the place to do that one.
Okay, I forgot my paper, so it's in the house,
Okay.
I did get a hold of someone in Ottawa, and they will put up a sign, and I don't remember the exact sizes, free. If we want a larger sign, then it's up to us to pay for it. But we also have to send a request on a village letterhead, and they didn't sound like they were real enthused about it right away. It's gonna take a while, probably because winter's here, and I guess the ground could be frozen, and
Yes.
it's not one of their top priorities. But I have the information, and I will get it to you after the meeting or something.
Okay.
Are you talking just a standard sign you'd see like entering any village or town?
Now, it doesn't say welcome, it'll say the village and the population. is what it'll say.
Well, green signs.
Right, green signs. Okay, anything else under old business? So I guess probably maybe we'll, as winter passes, maybe we'll put that on the schedule to address further, at least have a discussion again on it.
Yeah, I believe we could go ahead and do it and send the request in.
Mhm.
And then it's just a matter of, we'll have to wait until they decide to put it up, because apparently it's in their hands anyhow, so.
Okay. Well, I'll just include that on the agenda next time to have that discussion as to the different options that you say are out there and responsibilities as well. Okay, any other old business?
this be the time to bring up, that ask all of us to come up with some type of fundraiser?
Right, that was probably under the same time we brought that up, what you come up with.
I thought maybe we can have a village meeting with everybody, send out a newsletter saying, hey, come to this, give the village residents the opportunity to come up with how they want to raise money for their village.
Okay. Did you happen to have an opportunity to talk to anybody?
I talked to a few people and they thought that was a good idea.
Okay. Did they give you any indication as to
What they wanted to do?
nothing like that? Okay. Well, that doesn't sound like a bad idea to me. I think probably we would need a bigger facility to do something like that if you wanted to get everybody. I mean, depending on who comes, obviously, but I mean, and maybe, what do you think? Maybe wait for warmer weather? April, May-ish, probably when the weather breaks. Okay. Anything else you wanted to add, Bill, or?
No, I was, well, maybe there is. I was knocking around the idea of maybe suggesting a street sale.
Sell the street?
No, it's where we block off one street for one day. You have people bring in items to be auctioned off. We make a commission off the item. And anything under a certain, that sells under a certain amount, we get to keep the money.
Yeah. Well, it's an idea you can certainly present. The thing is, and those are all great ideas, I think those are more appropriate towards if you wanted to put up a building or something like that, so you wanted to start building funds for that. But for a budget, when you've got your expenses, you kind of have to have reliable income.
Yeah, I know, but I remember when I was growing up, the village of Clifton, Ashland, and Champaign had them yearly to raise money. And they ran them like that. And they, if I remember correctly, they used to have, they used to invite anybody from the whole county area to bring in because they would make commission off of what was sold. And anything that's sold or sold under a certain amount, they got the whole amount.
Okay.
And it got to the point where they actually made regular revenue off of that every year.
Well, it wouldn't hurt if you put the details of that plan, exactly how it works, so that everybody's clear. You know, I mean, I know you just explained it to me, but I mean, okay, this is what we're going to do, you know, what you like to do, and this is how it's expected to make money, okay?
When a proposal written up on it.
Yeah, that would be fine. And you can bring that at your leisure, because obviously that's a warm weather deal too.
Yes, it is.
You know.
But planning for something like that usually starts
I understand that.
about a month or two before the warm weather starts.
Well, you've got a few months to work on it. Okay. Revenue. Anything else under old business? Anybody? New business.
I have nothing under new business at the moment. Oh, yes, I do.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. That's why I called on you, Bill.
That's right. I'd like to change my, as I said, I'd like to change my vote on that resolution.
On the clerk appointment deal.
Clerk appointment deal.
Okay. Okay. I want to find out how best to do that, okay? So, it'll be noted that you want to do that at this meeting, the meeting immediately following the meeting that was taken. And I guess I didn't expect something like that to come out, so I really wasn't prepared. If you'd have gave me a call on it, I could have probably had the answer tonight.
Well, between our last meeting, I have been everywhere from Door County up in Upper Peninsula, Wisconsin to Indianapolis.
Okay. Well, if you got something like that where do you want an answer at the meeting? I mean, give me a little heads up, phone call, I can get the answer for you. And we may have been able to take care of it tonight, okay? But I'm really not clear on.
You're not clear on how to do it, but at least I want to be on record that I have asked for it.
Right, sure, that's fine. And it'll be duly noted. Anything else for new business?
I have a couple of things.
Okay.
One, I have a written request under the same thing resolution, changing the manner of selection of village clerk of Sammons Point from elected to an appointed. I would like to change my A to an A. Here's a paper to have for your.
Okay.
Likewise,
Is there a particular reason, or?
yeah, I feel that I don't want to take it out of the voters' hands. They should have the right to vote on that unless they have some type of referendum that's saying, yeah, we're going to give the board that authority.
Okay.
Okay? It's all written in there. Then the other one is from the direction to reimburse IDOT funds. I want to take my vote from an A to abstain. Reason for this change is I really was not a part of the first village board, and this decision should have been made from the past board.
Well, actually, it wasn't because I never informed us until after the issue was dead, they wanted to.
I'm not
So, I
sure
mean-
when it was, but I wanted
Yeah, no.
on record to change in here, so I'll make it.
Okay. Anything else? New business. I guess we jumped ahead of ourselves. Anyways, let's get to the discussion of the county planning and zoning ordinance. Did you guys manage to make it up and get you a copy? Or did you have one already? Or?
Well, I didn't get up there. Well, did make it up there to get one, but I did a lovely job of copy and paste off their website, so it's posted there.
That's fine. Did you have a chance? We're not gonna make a lot of decision. I just wanted to begin the discussion on that. And this will be probably carry on for maybe a couple meetings. You take the opportunity, and this is for everybody, you know, to get, see this thing's like 200, how many pages, 35 or 6?
The zoning portion of it goes through section, 205 sections if I remember correctly. No, my mistake, next section goes section 121, page 399. This is the number of pages there.
Okay, well that's,
Well, number of sections. Here's their indexing of the,
yeah, let me see what you got.
of their zoning. Now, there's a lot there that we may not need to address because it's the way they want it. It's their procedure way. And that's not covering the building zone, the building code aspect of it.
Okay, you've got sections, you kept saying pages.
Yeah, my
And,
mistake.
I'm gonna say, man, you got a whole lot more than I got.
Sorry about that.
No, okay. And now that I see that, it's sections up to 399.
And the building code that section is going up to 294.
You know, I'm not finding those section numbers on mine. I mean, the last issue it deals with is signs. I'm not seeing those section numbers that you're referring to, or that they refer to. Anybody else got it on theirs?
What do you mean? This is the one that we had last year. Kankakee County zoning and ordinance? What we go by?
Yeah.
Because
I think the last page on this one is 237.
Section. Section.
Because you told us to go up and get a copy of the code, and they actually have their whole code online. You go to building planning department, go to the building permits, go to building regulations, have a drop down window, and it actually brings up the Kankakee County code.
Okay. I guess is what, maybe is what the difference is this is the zoning ordinance, so this whole document is the ordinance.
And he's got the building code.
Building code,
That is the ordinance, the zoning code there.
okay, what you're referring to here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
How about the ordinance? Did you happen to get that at all, or no?
no, I did not.
Alright. Basically, it does go by the same outline because it ends with signs. So I understand what's going on here now. Okay, they have, each of these numbers are actual sections of that code for specific. So it's actually code on putting your sign in and so on and so forth. The zoning ordinance, and I don't know if I misspoke last time, if I told you code or ordinance, I'm not sure.
You told us code.
Okay.
So I went and got the code.
Okay. Well, I also told you to give me a call too. So, when you got it, so that we could have at least been on the same wave there. Okay, well, can you download the ordinance and do some review of it, okay? And basically, I'm looking for what you think is excessive. Maybe we can eliminate that. What you think needs to be stepped up a little bit. You know, if you think we need to be tougher on something. Get your thoughts on it, because we're gonna start, reviewing this page by page, and if you find something in there, because we're probably going to have a hearing on it, and get people's opinion as to taking the county code and putting it in place for ours. And, that'll probably be a one-meeting hearing, and at the next meeting.
Code or the ordinance?
Did I say code again?
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Say ordinance.
Well, please correct me. Ordinance. The ordinance. And making the ordinance, one for Sammons Point. So, apologize if I misdirected. Is there anybody else that have any thoughts in their brush up of this? If there's anything that you wanted to discuss under this tonight? Most of these changes we've already once discussed. We were probably, just to bring you guys up to date, we were probably a meeting or two away, a hearing, and then a meeting or two to implementing. Then we got the news as far as the court decision, so then our focus began not, we're gonna ride this out, find out. We knew within 90 days we'd have some kind of finalization on the thing, so it didn't get to the point where it was ever approved. But at any rate, these guys are probably up to speed with those discussions. Obviously, we want your guys' input, so a lot of the focus will be on you guys. I kind of already understand where everybody else was at. So, and call me, Bill. Okay?
Okay.
You know, because I think there's a lot to be said for when you bring an issue up, if that's something that I know we've discussed in a previous incorporation that will probably be implemented so that you'll know you're on the same page or not. And obviously, if you've got something you want to take into consideration, you know, we can throw that into the mix as well. So, for you and Paul. Okay, anything else under new business? Nobody, huh? You got something, don't you?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, is there a second?
I second.
Are you saying it?
No, I want to know if I can make, can comments be made now?
Sure.
Okay, to the board and to the audience?
Sure. I want to make something.
Okay. You know, Mike earlier was addressing some of the issues that I think some of the people were misinformed about, and I think I want to give you a little bit of an idea, you know, where I was coming from. To be honest with you, I've known Mike not real well for a number of years, and the first time we met was over the hog situation. I admit that. When we were having the hearings for the landfill thing and so forth, after that was done, I approached Mike and told him that I wanted to be on the board. And to be honest with you, it was because I had a lot of those question mark feelings that a lot of people had about what was going on. And that was the reason I figured, you know what, I've kind of buried my head in the sand for a number of years on a lot of different issues. And I'm thinking, well, you know what, it's time I need to keep my eyes open. I thought, well, the best thing to do is to get on the board, try to get on the board, be appointed to it, eventually maybe be elected to it, and kind of, this way you can kind of keep an eye on things going on, what's going on. And to be honest with you, there's nothing that I've ever seen that's been inappropriate. Nothing at these meetings has ever been discussed that's inappropriate. And I haven't been drugged through the mud like the mayor has, maybe a couple times, and I don't care, I got a pretty thick skin. And to have anybody kind of sit there and think, well, you know, they're in this together for some financial reward down the road, kind of offends me, because that's not me. I'd never do that. I'll guarantee you the last thing I want to have right here in this village at Sammons Point is a transfer station, landfill, what have you. So to be honest with you, that's the reason why I got on this board. And I know darn well, if he'd be honest with you, he knew how I felt. Because he knew I never was, you know, on the same side in a lot of different things. And that's the reason why I'm on this board. So if you got any questions or comments, I'll feel free to listen to them. But that's where I'm coming from. And I'm not sure some of these guys across the table have even known that as well too, and now they know. So, just wanted to clear it up. All right?
Thanks. Appreciate it. Anything else? Okay, buddy.
Motion to adjourn.
Phil? Second. Okay, meeting adjourned.